This is technically Five Guys.
So anyway, to be serious for a second, our guest this week is a podcast with Elliot and Lewis called That's Not How It Went Down, which I think is a genius idea. You clearly must have to do a lot of research as well. It's not just rock up. You need to do some deep dives into these sort of things. Like, how did you start the podcast? What made you come up with this idea?
When we sort of came up with the idea of starting a podcast, we were sitting in the pub, weren't we? And some guy that we didn't know leaned over next to our table and went, "Do you guys have a podcast?" And we couldn't sort of tell if he was taking the piss out of us or not. I assume he probably was. He was like, "Do you have a podcast?" And we were like, "Oh, no, we don't." He was like, you guys really should start one. You guys, you know. But
It does sound like an insult.
I thought that was like,
cool.
Could you guys shut the fuck up? Yeah.
we didn't start one for another like 2 years, so we really ruminated on whether it was an insult or not.
Yeah, we waited for him to move away
in the cinema, and they're like, "Can you start a podcast?"
Yeah. But no, we sort of got in touch with a studio that we were both kind of friendly with, and we sort of posited the idea that we thought it would be quite interesting to have a look at movies that are based on true stories and do a deep dive into exactly how accurate they are. With every week, one of us comes in having done all the research into that particular movie, and the other one comes in completely cold, having just watched the film but not knowing any of the kind of, you know, the truth behind what's actually gone on. So we've got every episode, we try and keep one of us playing the role of the audience, you know, so we can ask.
Teaching that individual about, you're teaching the other person about that.
Yeah, we want to ask the questions that we think everybody out there listening probably has as well. You know, one of the first episodes we did was Cool Runnings, and we were saying, well, hold on, is it really true that these guys were 4 failed sprinters that ended up on the Jamaican bobsled team? And then, you know, the more you kind of dig into that, the more you realise that perhaps it's a little bit more fabricated than you first think.
It's a great idea. It really is. And I think the headline of the stuff that I've seen of you guys recently as well is that, what's it actually called? The podcast awards. I don't know what the Independent Podcast Awards. You guys won it.
Yeah,
Woo!
best TV and film podcast. Yeah, it's really, and it was pretty much maybe like 7 days out from being exactly a year on from when we launched, which was a really satisfying sort of journey for our first year. It was really cool. It was a really good evening. It's great to be nominated, but it was great to win, and chatting to other sort of like-minded podcasters and stuff. And it's a nice little little medal.
They be invited if anyone's listening, you know.
Like Lewis says, it's nice to be nominated, and then they called our name, and we were like, wow. So it's just a really nice bookend to our first year podcasting.
Rage Whale.